Good morning and welcome to Cochise County Sunday Roundtable. I'm Herald Review Managing Editor Matt Hickman, joined this morning by a candidate for LD19 Senate, be running against longtime local politician Gail Griffin. Ryan Slawson is joining us. He's running as a Democrat, obviously traditionally a Republican seat, but you've brought some new energy into this race. Can you tell us a little bit about your background and then what made you want to jump in the race and take a run at politics?
Sure. I was brought here by the Army, so I was trained by the Human School here. That's Human Intelligence Collector. So I spent a couple of tours in Iraq, and then came here as an instructor, and I fell in love with the place, and I stayed. I'm sorry. Can you rephrase your question?
So what made you want to get in the race? When was the moment where you kind of just like said, I want to do this?
Well, I feel that there's just been kind of a lack of leadership in a lot of very critical things from our legislature and from my opponent, and I've seen the way that the economic crisis has really impacted people, and I've also seen the way that this failure of stewardship of our natural resources has really done a lot of ecological damage to our different rural communities, and so I had ideas. No one was stepping up, and I had the opportunity, so I took it.
And I want to ask how you chose this race to run out of the various LD19 you could. Obviously, there's two House seats and there's one Senate seat. For the longest time, people around here have had the same three leaders there. Gail Griffin, currently a rep, who's running for Senate, who will be your opponent in the general election. Lupe Diaz is another House candidate running for House. And then the current Senator, Dave Gowan, will be running as a House. So they basically done a musical chairs there. And so you kind of had your pick of which to run. What made you eye that Senate race against Gail Griffin?
Well, I thought that I had the chops to run for it, and that would be where I would be most effective and most able to do what I can to help the people of the district and of the state.
Yeah, and it's very of all the districts, legislative districts in the state, it's among the most red Republican. I mean, it gives you Cochise County, but not Bisbee. It gives you parts of Santa Cruz County, but not Nogales. So you're looking, and you go into Graham and Greenlee, so it's very red. And Democrats they've run in the past have not had much success. What are some things you think you can do to shake that game up?
Well, I'm a Democrat on paper, but I'm a very independent thinker, and I come from a very conservative background, so I understand, rural Arizona. I understand people who come from a conservative way of thinking, but I also see that there's some problems in the Republican Party that I can't reconcile myself with, and so while I have criticisms of the way that the Democratic Party has run and has done things, you need an infrastructure to have success, and the Democratic Party has that infrastructure, and so that is the place I found myself. But I am not the very corporate sort of Democrat that people have found fairly distasteful in these past several races. I am community oriented. I am looking to empower individuals and focus on bringing wealth to the people who do the work and put in the effort, and make sure that the money that we earn through our labor stays in our community and then continues to circulate in our community and builds wealth, instead of being, shipped off to Wall Street or Washington, which is, what most people are complaining about is, I'm working myself to death and got nothing to show for it. And, it's a very, very real criticism that people have of some past Democrat administrations and Republican administrations. And so seeing that the traditional way of doing things on both sides has led us here and has kind of left a lot of people out of, the bounty of Arizona and the dignity of work and of being able to build a life with the work that you do. I wanted to do something different.
Well, you're a small business owner. You own Orbital Games. Is that what's called Orbital Books and
Orbital Games and Comics.
Orbital Games and Comics in the mall at Sierra Vista. Obviously, a lot of comic books, but also a lot of, I'm thinking, Magic the Gathering, things like that. Well, I guess as a small business owner, what would you like to see your local state legislators do for small business owners?
Well, so rising tide lifts all ships, right? My biggest problem is that a lot of my customers are having trouble paying for groceries, paying for rent, getting a car, keeping gas in it. So when your entire customer base is really struggling to make ends meet, how are they going to spend money on the luxuries and the toys and games and things that I sell? So yes, there is self-interest in helping everybody, but that is what community actually is. And so, focusing on, lifting everyone, giving everyone that dignity, giving everyone that opportunity for wealth is what's super important to me. And then I benefit from that as somebody who is providing services and goods to my community. So I don't need the legislature to single out small business owners as a class. I need the legislature to help empower regular people to have a better life.
So this is your first foray into politics, I take it. What's it been like out of the gates here? We're still really early in the campaign. Are you out getting signatures? What are you doing so far?
So yeah, I'm doing a lot of events around town to introduce myself to various people who are already kind of active in politics, get my name out there and gather signatures. So that's been primarily what I've been doing. But I've also been doing a lot of research into the way constitutional law works in Arizona and what sort of policies are in place, what's being proposed, and what could be done in order to kind of address these problems that I'm seeing and that so many people are feeling.
I'm kind of curious what you're hearing out there from people and kind of thinking about what are you seeing that is your best argument against Gail Griffin, who's has a lot of connections, very powerful in the state legislature. You got to make that argument to voters in these parts about why they should make a change. What do you think? What are you seeing could be your issue that could drive a wedge between people and people who just vote for her because they know the name? Or
well, I mean, the problems we have are the result of the leadership that we've had, and Gail Griffin's been in politics for a long time, and so has the Republican Party in Arizona has been largely in control of the legislature for a long, long time. And so power infers responsibility and accountability. And if this is what we get from their leadership, it's not good enough. And a lot of people are feeling that. And a lot of people don't even bother messing with politics because they don't believe that there's an alternative that's actually going to do anything for them. Yeah.
Oh, and that kind of brings me back to, I guess, my final question here. It's just like, you're a small business owner, which could be advantageous for you if you want to do this. Because if you were to win the race, your salary would be $24,000 a year. And we know how long the session goes. It always goes longer than it's intended to. So it can end up being half a year or longer. At $24,000, you do get a $269 per day per diem, I believe, if you're outside of Maricopa County. But if you were trying to maintain a job, say, a 9-to-5 job, punching the clock, you couldn't. So you're in a fairly decent position where you could balance that.
Right.
That. What are your thoughts on pay for? I mean, we were talking about there's not a lot of people, whether you're talking city, county, state government, there's not a lot of pay there, not a lot of incentive. What are your thoughts on giving a raise to state legislators?
So I think that's not a terrible idea, but also you got to balance that with what is the intention of the Arizona Constitution so far as the political leadership of the state. And the way Arizona came about was had a very kind of minimal government, laissez-faire sort of philosophy behind it. So do you try and fight against the existing culture of the state, or do you find ways of working with that and utilizing the tools that exist outside of the strictly political pathways in order to bring about the kinds of changes that need to happen for people?
Okay, sounds good. Well, we're just getting started in the 2026 election season. Ryan Slawson's out of the gate strong as a Democrat running against Gail Griffin for the LD19 Senate seat. It covers most of Cochise County. Ryan, thank you so much, and I'm sure we'll see a lot of you out there on the campaign trail, and maybe we'll have you back here again as the race goes on.
Sure thing. Thanks
All
for
right.
having me.
Thanks a lot.